The moon is not what you think it is. We told ourselves we understood it. 6 Apollo landings, 842 pounds of lunar rock brought back to Earth, thousands of photographs. We built a complete model of the moon and called it settled science. A dead world, geologically quiet, fully mapped. Then, on April 6, 2026, 4 astronauts swung around its far side, the hemisphere that has permanently faced away from Earth since the moon was formed, and the model started breaking apart. What made the far side so different? Why does a world we've studied for centuries still have the capacity to unsettle the people who see it up close? Those questions have answers now, and they are not comfortable ones. Here is what you need to understand first. The moon we see every night, that familiar gray face, the one that shows up in every painting and every myth, represents only half of the story. The near side, the side facing Earth, is covered in vast dark plains called Maria. Ancient lava flows that filled enormous craters and cooled into flat basalt seas billions of years ago. They give the moon its face. The far side has almost none of that. Less than 1% of its surface is covered in Maria. Instead of smooth plains, it is a wall of craters stacked on craters stacked on older craters, a landscape battered continuously for 4 billion years. The crust on the far side is roughly 50 kilometers thicker than on the near side. No one fully agrees on why. Their names are Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. They are the crew of Artemis II, the first mission to include a woman, a black astronaut, and a non-American beyond Earth orbit. They launched from Kennedy Space Center on April 1st, 2026, aboard the Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built, 322 feet tall, 8.8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. It took them out of Earth orbit in a single burn that lasted less than 5 minutes. From that moment, there was no turning back. The trajectory they followed is called a free return. It means that even if the spacecraft's engines had failed completely after that burn, the moon's gravity would have slung them around and sent them falling back toward Earth on its own. Apollo 13 used the same kind of path in 1970. It is considered the safest route to the moon. Think about what that means. The safest option is the one designed to survive total engine failure. As they approached the moon, they were traveling at nearly 60,000 miles per hour relative to Earth. At roughly 4,600 miles above the surface, they crossed the threshold, farther from Earth than any human being had ever traveled. Glover, the mission's pilot, tried to describe what he was seeing to mission control in real time. He couldn't. Not really. His words, radioed down during the approach, were that humans had probably not evolved to see what they were seeing, that it was truly hard to describe. And then the signal cut out. Subscribe to Deep Horizon Space and hit the notification bell so you never miss a mission. At 6:44 in the evening, Eastern Time, the moon itself came between the Orion spacecraft and Earth. Every radio signal blocked. 3,400 kilometers of solid lunar rock. No voice from Houston. No telemetry. No abort commands. Nothing. For 40 minutes, they were the most isolated human beings who had ever lived. What Mission Control received when the signal came back was not a detached technical report. Glover said the Terminator, the shifting boundary between sunlight and shadow on the lunar surface, was full of magic. That the islands of light and valleys of shadow looked like black holes you could fall straight through to the center of the moon. Koch described smaller, more recent impact craters as shockingly bright against the ancient terrain, like pinprick holes in a lampshade, glowing white against dull gray. Hansen reported that during the solar eclipse, the sun illuminated the entire perimeter of the moon, highlighting topography along the lunar limb that no camera had ever captured the way a human eye could. The crew witnessed something no human had ever seen from this distance or angle: a total solar eclipse from lunar orbit. As Orion dipped behind the moon, the sun disappeared behind the lunar disk. Totality lasted nearly 54 minutes, far longer than any eclipse visible from Earth. The sun's outer atmosphere, its corona, flared out in a halo Glover described as bright enough to ring the entire moon. During that eclipse, both Hansen and Wiseman reported what appeared to be brief flashes of light on the lunar surface. Momentary bursts. Scientists in Houston asked for more details. Both confirmed at least one clear flash, though they could not determine how long it lasted. The moon has no atmosphere, nothing between its surface and the full violence of space. Meteorites, solar particles, galactic cosmic radiation, all of it strikes the far side with nothing to slow it down. The crew may have witnessed a live meteorite impact, an event that would vanish before any instrument on Earth could confirm it. And beneath the surface they were looking at, something enormous was hiding. To understand what the far side revealed, you need the numbers. The South Pole-Aitken Basin is the largest preserved impact crater in the entire solar system, roughly 2,500 kilometers across, up to 13 kilometers deep. If you placed it on a map of the United States, it would swallow everything from Texas to Virginia. The mountains along its rim reach summit elevations of 8,500 meters. The Artemis II crew became the first humans to see the eastern edge of this basin with their own eyes, not through a robotic camera, not in processed data from an orbiter, through the windows of their spacecraft. The Apollo astronauts never saw it. Their flight paths didn't take them over the right sections of the far side. Their timing didn't align with the right solar illumination. Artemis II's trajectory was designed differently, sweeping at an angle that exposed roughly 21% of the far side to direct sunlight from the crew's perspective. Before crossing to the far side, the crew also observed one of the near side's most baffling features, Reiner Gamma. A bright, swirling pattern sprawled across the lunar surface, like someone dragged a white paintbrush across dark rock. It has no elevation. It is not a crater, not a volcanic deposit. It is a flat optical marking that aligns perfectly with a localized magnetic anomaly in the crust beneath it. The moon has no global magnetic field, hasn't had one for billions of years, yet scattered patches of magnetized rock persist in its crust, ghosts of something that once protected it. Scientists still aren't certain what created the swirl. The crew photographed it as they swept past. The crew also noted color variations across the surface that no orbiter image had fully captured. Shades of brown and subtle blue tints in certain regions. Color nuances that human eyes detect, but cameras tend to flatten. These shifts reveal mineral composition and the relative age of surface features. Information that could reshape maps of the moon's geological history. Koch described the moment Earth disappeared behind the lunar horizon, a slow vanishing of a pale blue crescent sinking behind gray cratered rock. NASA has called the image they captured Earthset, a mirror of the famous Earthrise photograph taken by Apollo 8's Bill Anders in 1968. Except this time, Earth is leaving, slipping behind the far side, vanishing. Koch said that when you have that perspective and compare it to home, it reminds you how much we have in common, that everything we need, Earth provides, and that you cannot truly understand that until you've had the perspective of the other. What the crew saw with their eyes is only part of what the far side is hiding. In 2019, a team led by planetary geophysicist Peter James at Baylor University combined gravity data from NASA's Grail mission with topographic measurements from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Beneath the floor of the South Pole-Aitken Basin, they found a mass anomaly sitting at least 300 kilometers below the surface, a blob of dense material weighing a minimum of 2.18 quintillion kilograms. James described it as roughly equivalent to burying a pile of metal 5 times larger than the big island of Hawaii underground. Whatever it is heavy enough to drag the basin floor downward by more than half a mile. The most probable explanation: it is the metallic core of the asteroid that punched the hole in the first place, still lodged in the moon's mantle after 4 billion years. Like a bullet fragment, the body never managed to push out. Then there is the granite. In 2023, researchers detected a thermal anomaly beneath the far side surface, a region about 50 kilometers wide that registers roughly 10 degrees Celsius warmer than everything surrounding it. The likely source is a massive buried block of granite. Granite is common on Earth. It is almost unheard of on the Moon, because granite requires water and plate tectonics to form, neither of which the Moon has. Researchers believe it may be the remnant of a volcano that went dormant 3.5 billion years ago, its residual magma still radiating faint heat. Lead scientist Matt Siegler noted that the finding looks far more like what we see on Earth than anyone had thought possible on the Moon. And then there are the lava tubes. Radar data and high-resolution imagery suggests the Moon harbors underground tunnel networks formed by ancient lava flows, with entrance pits visible from orbit that could lead to caverns large enough to shelter entire structures. Their true size, structural integrity, and interior conditions remain unknown. Whether they contain trapped gases, pristine volcanic deposits, or temperature conditions radically different from the surface is entirely speculative. Future Artemis missions may eventually explore them. For now, they are sealed. The crust asymmetry, the thicker far side, the absence of Maria, the different geological history suggests that something catastrophic happened early in the Moon's formation. An impact so violent it sent a plume of heat rippling through the entire interior, driving rare Earth elements and radioactive materials toward the near side. That impact created the South Pole-Aitken Basin, and beneath it, we still do not understand everything it left behind. The Artemis II crew is spending 10 days in deep space during solar maximum, the peak of the Sun's 11-year activity cycle, when the risk of solar particle events is highest. A severe solar storm can push radiation to near-lethal doses within hours. The Orion capsule provides shielding, more than Apollo ever did. But galactic cosmic rays, originating from supernova explosions and other catastrophic events, move at nearly the speed of light. They penetrate almost anything we have ever built. Apollo astronauts reported seeing mysterious light streaks behind their closed eyelids during missions, caused by high-energy particles punching directly through their retinas. Some later developed cataracts at unusually high rates. The sample size was 24 people. Statistically, that means almost nothing, which is its own kind of unsettling. Alexandra Stankovic, founding director of the Center for Space Medicine Research at Massachusetts General Hospital, has called deep space radiation the #1 limitation on how far humans can explore, the showstopper. Researchers are testing everything: drug therapies, dietary supplements, even speculative gene therapy techniques borrowed from radiation-resistant organisms. Because if astronauts are ever going to live beyond Earth's magnetic shield for months at a time, engineering alone will not be enough. Biology has to become part of the answer. The Avatar payload aboard Artemis II carries bone marrow cells derived from the crew's own blood samples. Scientists will study how those cells respond to the deep space radiation environment after the mission. That data may matter more than any photograph the crew took. During the 40-minute blackout, if a solar particle event had struck, mission control would not have known until the signal returned. The crew had protocols. Orion was equipped to maintain cabin pressure continuously. They carried pressurized suits. None of that changes what those 40 minutes actually were. 4 people sealed inside a capsule the size of a large van, separated from Earth by 3,400 kilometers of solid lunar rock, surrounded by a landscape of ancient violence, bathed in radiation that our species did not evolve to survive. When the signal came back, Glover said something simple. He said the moon is not just a poster in the sky that goes by, it's a real place. He's right, and the more we learn about it, the less comfortable that becomes. The granite that shouldn't be there, the mass that doesn't match, the asymmetry no single theory fully explains, the magnetic ghosts imprinted in a crust that lost its field billions of years ago, the lava tubes, sealed and unexplored, waiting beneath the surface we told ourselves we understood. Every answer the far side gives us opens 3 more questions, and the questions keep getting harder. The next crew is already in training. They won't orbit. They'll land on the south pole of a world we're only beginning to understand. What they find on the surface will not be what we expect.